Bonjour, everybody. Hi. Bonjour, peeps, I should say. Hello, peeps. Good morning. This is Thursday, August 9th. Can you believe it? It's going so fast. It's going incredibly fast. So, good morning, and welcome to Star Nations Organization's main fan page. This is the morning live stream that I do just about every morning for the card draw of the day, which means that I ask my spiritual team to show me what's the most important energy that we need to know for today. And so welcome. Well, Mervyn Kelly's in the house. Good afternoon. He's over across the pond. Mervyn, we call him Nelly. He is one of our live stream show hosts here at Star Nations Radio Network, live stream on Facebook. And his show is From Star to Stone. And his show is coming up next week, Tuesday. Tuesdays are always a busy day here at Star Nations, and the second Tuesday is extremely busy because we have many more shows on that particular Tuesday, and so looking forward to it. It's good stuff. Good morning, Rochelle. I'm so glad you're here, and Elise just joined too. Good morning, everybody. Well, as you can see, I am broadcasting from my office here at my home rather than at the Star Nations Academy. And I explained yesterday that Paul and I had this plan for quite a while, actually, to get a bathroom put in up at the Academy. And we had not drilled well or septic kind of situations when we first built the building. Our intention had always been to have that building pretty much off the grid. So we're going to be installing sun panels at some point as well. Got a big fly in here. And he just buzzed by. I got buzzed by, I don't know, what are those really, really big flies called? Other than gigantic flies. I don't know. He came to visit. I don't know how he got in the house. He must have been in here since yesterday, down here in the office. Hopefully he got some of the filing done and the bookkeeping done. That would be nice. So anyway, we are installing a bathroom up there. And the construction team who built the building, actually, they're doing the construction for the bathroom. And yeah, they showed up yesterday. It's a good thing we moved the live stream and the shows that I help produce or monitor in case they need help, and also my own shows, back down to the house, because guess what? They showed up at 10:15 yesterday morning. So we would have just gotten started with the live stream had I had I not made the decision to move everything back down to the house. So funny. So my intention is to do another live stream with my phone, and I thought you guys might like to see what's going on up there. I haven't asked the construction team if they wouldn't mind being on a live stream, so I need to do that first and let them. Hopefully, they'll say yes, because it's good for their business too, right? And then we'll give you guys an introduction to them. If they decide not to, at least you'll be able to see how the construction is taking place. So, but that's going to hopefully be later today, maybe tomorrow morning. It depends on when I can catch up to them and when I can actually get up there, because we get stuff going on here. We've got testing of a magazine to get done this morning. We also, or this afternoon actually, we also have, Mom's got some appointments this afternoon, and so it's kind of a busy Thursday. Sort of. We're really well on track for publishing the August issue of Star Nations magazine that comes out tomorrow, Friday, and we're right on track. In fact, we're ahead of the game just a little bit, which is always good to be. All right. Rochelle is saying Deb is doing good, major decisions in her life. Oh, that's good. I did get your call, Rochelle. In fact, I just listened to the message, and I'll get back to you either in a text or in a PM, okay? So it's good that Deb is doing better. That's excellent. And Mary Anderson Fry just joined the show. Yeah. Hey, what did you guys think of the, hopefully you saw it, the picture that I used to promote or to remind people of the live stream this morning of the trees? I was looking for a picture that kind of jumped out at me for this morning, and that one did it. And actually, it's probably because of my heart and my mind is on the upcoming class on Saturday, which is the introduction to shamanic journey. And when I saw that picture, it kind of reminded me of how some people use trees to go to the lower world. So that's why I used it. Yum. All right. So peeps, this is I'm trying to remember to do this. If you could help me to share out the show and like it. It's not, Elise calls it Neshi's non-show because I've never actually named this other than joining me for the today's card draw. If you wouldn't mind liking and sharing it, we're still kind of looking at how Facebook treats native live stream compared to when we use BeLive. And now that I kind of get a sense of that, I want to see how they take and compare the two of sharing and liking between the two modes of broadcasting. So, and it's very helpful. And so I appreciate it. And so I'm going to first send it over to the Star Nations Radio Network closed group. And then I'm going to share it to my timeline. And my own timeline. I'm live streaming right now. Come on, please join me. All right, there we go. I always say technology is grand when it works, right? that and those keys are so little that sometimes, I get the wrong letter, and I call it misspelling, but is it really? I don't know. Oh, and Rochelle says that's okay. You don't have to, Rochelle. You don't have to. We can talk about that later. Hey, Rob Kendall just joined us too. Good morning, Rob. Okay, so today is Thursday, August 9th, and I always tell you a little bit about the weather here. It's a little overcast, which isn't bad. It's actually partly cloudy. And I noticed when I don't have direct sunlight coming into the window on my left here, the lighting isn't quite as different. I'm not going to play around with it too much because you know what? We're only doing the broadcasts from here probably until Monday or Tuesday next week, and then we'll be back up at the academy, and so that'll be good. All right. So today's card draw for those people who might be watching for the first time, and whether it's the live or in the recorded, this is the card deck that we're using. It is the Sacred Geometry Oracle card deck by Francine Hart, and it was published in 2001. This is the first Oracle deck that I had ever seen for using Sacred Geometry, and so I found it back in 2002. And I've used it since then. And there's probably other decks out there now. You know how things keep evolving. People are creating stuff all the time. And I just never have gone back out there to see if there's another card deck. I might do that. Because eventually we'll switch out again, right? And I'm using the card decks that I personally have. I haven't added to them in quite some time. And I think, I don't know, I'll let intuition spirit lead me in that one because we have a couple other card decks that we can use after we're finished with this one. Yeah. All right. So okay. So here is how Francine, how she does this, the card draw using her card deck. She has a way of presenting the information in a holistic way, right? Because Earth was designed and set up to be a school about duality, and I'm trying to change my language on it. I catch myself doing it, and I think, oh, use a different phrase. That we can have balance and wholeness with a WHOLE, whole, even though we have contrasting energies here on Earth. So the way Francine has her deck set up is that it's just you could draw one card, but the way that she's got it set up is that you can draw two cards in the simple card layout, right? And with the two cards, the first card that comes out of the deck is the male energy card, which goes on the right-hand side. And that represents logic and thinking and thoughts and grandfather sky. Okay. And the second card that's drawn is represents the female energy, which is emotions and feelings and the heart stuff, and it represents grandmother Earth. Okay, so when we have those two together, is you have a complete, you have the whole. And so when we receive the message through both the verbal words and also the images, our being takes it in its wholeness. And it's a different way of receiving the information, and it is very, very logical in a way, but it also is very how do I even say this? It has us using our intuition. Okay, yeah. Hello, Mary. All right. So the first card that came is the lesson. The lesson. Let's see. There we go. The lesson. And notice in the background is the flower of life, right? And in the foreground is an angel holding the flower of life, looking back at us. Yeah. And one other thing that I'd like you to notice is up at the top, you see the flower of life image is extended, right? There's more. There's more. Now, Francine doesn't actually get into this particular meaning in her write-up, but I want to share it with you. But first, let's find out what Francine, what she says about this card and what it could bring to us today. Okay, she says that the flower of life contains an infinite library of information and connects us to the universal truths beyond all present knowing. So this card is asking us to consider what lessons we are learning at this time in our life. Life can be joy-filled, magical school if you decide to utilize the resources. Okay, so let's stop there for a second. So the card is asking us to consider our life lessons, right? What we're learning about right now, not what we learned in the past, not what we might learn in the future, but what's going on right now. And she says that it can be joy-filled. It can be a magical time if we tap into the resources that we have at hand. And there's something that I know for sure is that everything that we need to I was going to say succeed, but to complete the life lesson is right at our fingertips. Everything. We already have our gifts because we came in with them. We already have skills. We have education, both formal and informal. And so we have everything that we need to be able to learn the lesson. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that we have the opportunity to acquire new skills or new tools. We can certainly do that. And I think that's where the fun can come in too, is because maybe there is a skill or education that you already can have, but then you take it to the next level for this particular lesson, okay? And so I do believe that when we're listening, when we have our thin ears on, right? When we're listening to our guidance from our spiritual team, because we should be asking them for help. We should be asking them to show us with clarity or show me our next best step. Because this is my intention. This is the direction I want to go in. What's my next best step? So listening to them and not ignoring them. Or a lot of times what happens is that we start to shop around for a better answer because we didn't like the answer that they gave us. Especially if you're using dowsing, whether it's a pendulum or finger dow, kinesiology. If you get a no, let's say you get a no, and you think, oh, I don't. What if I ask it in a different way? I'll probably get a yes if I ask it in a different way, which is probably true. But there's a line in the sand when what we're really doing is looking for the answer that we want, right? And so that when we don't listen attentively to our spiritual team and we start chopping around, we can make it harder on ourselves. Now, I've been there. I've done that. I'm not going to tell you about which ones it was because, it's like, it's one of those, oh my God, what did I do? I could have done it so much easier had I listened, right? Yeah. Done that, been there. It's part of the growth, really. So here's the card that was drawn. It's called The Lesson, and it's about universal wisdom. She says to use this card as a doorway or a stargate, right? To absorb the information or energy, light from this encounter so that you can support your desire for joy, growth, and freedom. So what I want to share with this, that what Francine doesn't really write about is, let me put the book aside here, is if when you look, let's see, right about here, all around the edges, right? All around the edges, you can kind of see where the flower of life is extended. When you have the flower of life visual, the image, you'll always see kind of a band around the outside. And there's 19 circles, overlapping circles that create the flower of life image. But when you take that band off, the flower of life, those overlapping circles extend to infinity. There's no end to it. And so that means that we have all kinds of opportunity for creation and insight. The bands that are used around the image itself is to contain the information, the energy that's useful here. What we used to say in 3D, but let's change that. Let's change that to the vibration frequency that we individually can access using the flower of life. Okay. So, and I've only seen the band off from the flower of life in 2 different instances. And one of them I was teaching years ago, and it was using crystals to broadcast. And because of the different vibrational levels that people were working at, manifesting at, we were taught how to create the flower of life without the bands, so that we're not limited to a 3D kind of situation, right? I hope that makes sense. The other situation that I've seen the band removed, and that was with one of my teachers, Drunvalo. He was explaining about the removal of the bands, and I think that's in Flower of Life too, the book, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life. I think it's in volume 2. So those are the only 2 instances that I'm aware of. There may be others, but when I saw this image, I thought, oh, she's going there. This was years ago when I first started studying sacred geometry. And with the angel there, using the portals, gotta show it again. All right, so you see where the circles overlap. They kind of look like flower petals around the stars, right? That's where the circles overlap. And in those intersections is a very energetic point. We would almost call them sacred site, where we have ley lines or water lines crossing, and so you have added energy in that particular spot. That's the same situation, okay? And you can use the Flower of Life, the image, to do what we call dream time travel. You can go and get information, really. It's another way of traveling, soul traveling, and that's one of the reasons why the angel is there, because it's also a level of protection for those people who may not know about how to correctly soul travel. Is to take your team with you. They're always with us. We just forget to ask them for help. Oh God, that coffee is good. It's good coffee. The only way it would be better is if I didn't have to make it. So this is another thing that soul traveling, using the image of the Flower of Life to do that. It also reminded me of, Celtic knots. Have you seen Celtic knots? Those in the chat. But that is another form of sacred geometry. Those are ancient images. And they're alive. My belief is everything has consciousness. And many people believe that. A lot of that comes from an indigenous belief. And we're all indigenous to somewhere at some point. If you go far enough, we all come from tribal nations. And the Celtic knots, they're alive. And, the shamans, the medicine people, the holy people, in that tradition, they would use the Celtic knots as a point of traveling, like a stargate. And so there is information out there. The thing is that we need to have some knowledge around that kind of traveling. It's a good analogy, or is it a metaphor? Would be a passport. You know how we have passports on the earthly school, right? To go from country to country. We could, if you could think of it as a passport going from dimension to dimension, is that your soul already knows all of this. It's our mental mind that needs to get on board, right? And so when you're traveling interdimensionally, you need to have a tour guide. You need to have some of your team that's already with you, traveling with you and helping you with it. And how do they do that? You ask them. You might not even know them by name, and that's okay. You don't need to know their name. You just need to believe that they're there to help you. And you can ask them to show you the way. and to be safe. To be safe. Rochelle says, yes, I have seen Celtic knots. And Mervin's got Mervin, the Merlin, the wizard, emoticons up. And that is cool. I like that. Yes. And Cindy Lynn is saying, I have Celtic knot triquetra tattoo on my leg with a crow sitting on top holding a star. Really? Wow. That's pretty cool. Well, I want to do a show so badly on tattoos and having our power animals on our body. And I haven't found the right person yet to interview, but I want to. Yeah, holding a star. All right. So I remember I think it was my second trip to Ireland. I think it was the second. It was the trip where I first met Amantha Murphy. And we were at a shamanic school there, and we were doing some travel work there, and they had some Celtic knots, on their walls. And I remember everybody was, sharing their information and that kind of thing. And I remember staring at one of those Celtic knots, and I know I saw movement, and it's like, and so I was asking about that, and I was told that yes, that they are a form of interdimensional travel, and so much like a Stargate. Yeah. Hey, Mary Summers just joined us. Hello, Mary. Okay, so this is the first card that was given to us this morning, the lesson. It's about universal wisdom, and that we can utilize the flower of life to tap into that universal wisdom. We can use the image to do that. I just want to make sure I've got the information that Francine gave. She says, allow yourself to open to the wisdom contained in this card and let your natural healing process begin. And so we can get information. It's like going to our Akashic records in a way, but it's even beyond that. This is universal energy. That there's energy information that's available to us if we're willing to tap into it, right? And that's what she's saying. This is the lesson. And this was the first card. And so it goes on the right-hand side, and it has the energy of the male. Yeah, and so it's about mental thought. It's about rationality, and it's about logic. Okay. Grandfather Sky. And so that is the information that we're given from in that way. Now to let's see the second card. Where's the second card? There she is. The second card that came is called Invitation. Invitation. Did you get that? I'm trying to get it to focus. My camera and the lighting. There we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's called Invitation. So if I do this, there's too much of a glare. All right, so it's called Invitation, and it's about other dimensions. And you can kind of see that, there's that starry quality to it. And then kind of in the background, you have to kind of really look. There's imagery there of two angels, one on each side. And then you can also see, put the book down for a second. You can also see right here, there's kind of an elliptical line on both sides, right? It kind of looks like an eye, the shape of an eye, but it's on its side. Can you see that? That's called the vesica Piscis. That's where two of the circles overlap. And that right there in the center, in the overlap of the circles, the Vesica Pisces, it said that let there be light, because there's a flash of light when the two circles come together and overlap, right? Let there be light. Let there be life, I've heard it said. It's that light. Yeah, it's kind of, it also reminds me of our heart, not just our physical heart, but our energetic heart. And when we're talking about our high heart, which is kind of between your throat chakra and your heart chakra, right? It's right in between. It's where the overlap between those two chakras is. And it's in that balance. Our high heart is in that balance of the head and the heart, right? Yeah. And so that's what that kind of reminds me of. And in that flash of light, So let's see what Francine has to say about this, because when I read it, it was like, oh my goodness, the peeps are going to like this one. I know, I do too, Rochelle. She says, I like that card. Cindy says, but it looks cool when you move it. Looked alive. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah. She says, very neat. I did not, with a K, know that. All right, so here's what Francine Hart says about this card, okay? The invitation is about other dimensions. Appearing as grids or matrices of light, geometric vibrational fields connect everything in existence. Everything vibrates into a divine order. This card represents a doorway or a portal or a stargate. Giving yourself permission to explore is the first step to explore. And so it's interesting that with these two cards, they're both talking about taking the invitation, learning the lesson, using the flower of life to travel, to get the information, the universal information. Isn't that interesting? So that is the essence of today's energy. Yeah. And okay. So anyway, what Francine says about this particular card, she's got 3 steps. The first one is giving yourself permission to explore. The second one is a deep connection with spirit, and the ability to ground yourself solidly is in the next essential measure. Gathering your courage to leave the security of the known and venture forth is the third. This card also depicts 2 guardian figures who will act as guides and protect you on your journey. So the first one is to give yourself permission to explore. The second one is to make sure you're grounded. Be grounded before your spiritual body leaves to the next dimension, because your physical body is going to remain here. So you want to be grounded. Your physical body wants to be grounded here. Okay. And the third one, she says, is to leave, it's okay to leave the known, to go explore the unknown. Okay. So she says, go forward and experience the wonders of all that is. And what I say to that is that when you travel anywhere, whether it's in the physical world or in the spiritual world, when you travel anywhere, you want to go prepared. When we go on a trip in the physical world, generally speaking, we do a little preparation, right? Depending on where you're going, you want to make sure that your car is in good working order and that it's got a full tank of gas or a full charge, right? And you plan out what you're going to pack, depending on where you're going. You want to know if you're going to pack hiking boots or flip-flops or warm climate clothing or cold climate clothing. You do a little preparation. And sometimes you actually do an itinerary, where you're going to be on certain days and what are you going to go see, those kinds of things. So you do some preparation work. Depending on where you're going, if you're going out of the country and you're going to a country that maybe it's a third world country or something like that, you want to make sure that you have certain medical things with you, or you have your tetanus shot or whatever that is. You do some preparation. When you travel in spirit, with spirit, you still have to do some preparation. You have to make sure that things are okay back home, that your physical body is taken care of, that you're in a safe place to do this, and that you're taking your guides with you. That you're saying, I want to go find out or find more information about. And so you have an intention. My Misho, my grandfather used to say is that, you were born in a physical body and you're meant to be here. You're not meant to hang out and he called it a playground, turn it into a playground in spirit. You figure out what you need, where you want to go, why you're going. You go and you get that done and you come back, because it's in that experience, that information that you're bringing back to your physical world, to help you on your spiritual journey, your soul growth. Yeah. So be safe, definitely be safe and be prepared, as prepared as you can be anyway. I just got buzzed again. There's this big fly, and I'm telling you, he's big. He just flew right by again. Where is, let's see, is Stephanie in the house? I didn't see her name come up. Somebody could look up the spiritual meaning of fly. Fly. Let's see what's going on. Because honestly, I've never seen him before. And I came downstairs and I didn't even see him when I set up. It wasn't until I actually went live that he kind of flew out from behind the light area. Kind of got warm back there, I bet, for him. Yeah. All right. Rochelle is saying, I accept the invitation. Well, then you better talk to your team. Talk to your spiritual team and saying that you want to make sure who's coming with you, that they're on board. Cindy is saying, I just heard a message in my head when you read that. Thank you. You're welcome. And Cindy says, love it. Thank you. So do I. And that is one of the reasons why I love this morning time with you guys. This live stream time, I should say, because like with Nellie, there's people watching in different time zones. Our time together, really, it does feel like a spiritual roundtable, that we're having a conversation about the energy, this energy for today, especially. And so, right. So when we have these two cards in the way that they were given to us, we have the balance of male and female energies. It comes into us as a whole message, and that we're taking it in not just through the verbal language, which has its own vibration, but also the imagery. And let me tell you, the imagery is much more important than what I have to say. Because this imagery is between you and spirit. It's a direct communication. Does that make sense? It's kind of like I'm an interpreter in a way, a facilitator. And I do have some information in the verbalness of it. And there is a vibration to the words, and my own personal vibration that you're feeling. But it's much more important that these images are between you, your soul self, your conscious self, and spirit. Yeah. So, what I say is, now that we have this information, is to notice, watch how the energy unfolds for you today. Sense it in as many senses as you can comfortably do, and watch it unfold. And using the information that you just received in a way that helps you with your soul growth. And I always say is that when the energy comes to me, flowing through me, am I using the information as a direct participant, or am I bearing witness to something? In either case, we're learning, we're receiving. Yeah, and you just have to notice it. If you're a direct participant, obviously you have an action to it too. And just to remember to ask your spiritual team, ask them to show you, however you take in information, to tell you, show you, let you see it, feel it, and let them help you, right? Take the next best step. And I always say that if this doesn't resonate with you, that's okay too. Just know that maybe we're just planting seeds, or possibly you're a messenger, that you're delivering a message to somebody that you know that either is searching for this information, or you think that they might find it interesting, right? And you just share it with them. That's all you have to do. You don't have to even believe in it if you don't want to. Although I tell you what, if you're watching or listening to this, you have some sort of belief system in sacred geometry, at least. Yeah. Let's see, Rochelle is saying, if one is in a coma, would their spirit be in the playground? Let me think about that. All right, so what little I know about people in comas is that there's a part of them that senses, hears what is going on around them in the physical world, right? And they also sense and feel what's going on in another dimension or the spiritual world. All right, so it's a part of their soul contract. It's a part of what they agreed to experience here. And a part of that experience for those people who choose that path, it's almost like this physical world is their playground, is the playground. And where they're at in another dimension or in the spiritual world is, I don't know how to describe this. Words. Is that they had to go and learn something in a different way, in a different method. Yeah, so it was part of their soul contract. And when they're ready to come back, they're ready to come back to this world. That's a good question. That's a good question. Because there's the medical scientific discussion about people in comas and what they believe. And I know that in my indigenous belief is that they're walking in two worlds, literally walking in the other one more than this one. So the playground term, that was my grandfather. He wanted to impress on us that that you're meant to be here, and that you can spend time over in the spirit, but that's not where you're meant to be when you have a physical body. That's what he was trying to get across to us. I think he was trying to tell us to be careful, to tell you the truth. I think he was telling us to be careful. That's me as an adult. As a teenager, I certainly received that much differently. But this is what the cards that came up today. And please, just watch how your day unfolds for you, and let us know if there's something that really kind of cool happens, right? All right. So with that, Please enjoy the rest of your Thursday. And if you would like to join me this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at the Star Nations Academy closed group, you can. Because what we're going to be doing is, I do this on a monthly basis. I have a mini class, I call it. It's called Shamanic Insight. I think that's what it's called. We started out with Shamanic Journey because there was a lot of questions about it. And but the Shamanic Insight is about different aspects of that lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle. It's also a belief system. And tonight we're talking about sharing about good medicine and bad medicine. And so if you're available and you want to join us, please do so. If you're not a member of that closed group, please just go to, I'll put the address, the link in the comment section, and just go there and ask to join and we'll get you set up, okay? But you're invited to be with us tonight. Yeah, Cindy Lynn has just posted about the fly for you tagged your name in it. Oh, okay, good. Thank you, Cindy Lynn. I appreciate that. So hopefully I'll see you back here for a live stream on the Star Nations Academy closed group at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow we get to publish the magazine. Yay! So that's what I'm going to go work and finish up on the last bits and pieces for, and get ready for this weekend for the class, for the Shamanic Journey introduction to it. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for the card draw. Bama Mina, which is Potawatomi for until we see each other again. Love you guys.